And I think that's one of the things that you can't necessarily like quantify for teaching is that that confidence that teacher gives like human beings. Like, yes, we do know. You go to school, there's a teacher, you're the student, you're going to learn this lesson, and because of teachers, we know how to read, right? And then how that morphs into calculus and science and all of those types of things. But I think the thing that we have not been able to make everyone understand is this person is in your life for 5 days a week, 7 hours a day. They're telling you good job, they're giving you redirection, they're doing all of these things that help build the character of who you are, your confidence, how you move into the world. I think that's like one thing that like I know for me because I had really good teachers. I was in a Title I school, so I had all the odds against me to not have great teachers, and yet I had great teachers. And I know they helped me, like just with my confidence, just with me figuring out who I was, coming from a second grader to a third grader to a fourth grader to these ages where my body is like changing and I'm hormonal. Like these like teachers are like your mentors. They're not just teachers. Like for me, they were like also mentors. And I think that's one of the things that we haven't been able to quite quantify, so that people actually get the importance of teachers. Correct. Not everyone can just, teach a lesson. You can't just give someone, a lesson packet and they can execute that lesson. Like I understand that, but I think we have not been able to also explain the importance of your presence in our lives for 5 days a week, 7 hours a day, and our brain is just soaking up everything that you're saying, that you're doing. Do you feel, as teachers, do you feel that? Do you feel not that responsibility, but yeah, maybe like, do you feel that responsibility? Like you're also kind of responsible for, you know, not just the teaching of these lessons, but kind of like the guidance of these young minds into, you know, high school, college years. Kimberly?
Sometimes that's the part I
Uh,
enjoy
oh, I'm sorry.
more. Like
Yeah.
multiplication is
Yeah.
multiplication, but that relationship with the students and building a trust and letting them know I'm committed to them and their learning. They will come to school on a day where they might not feel like coming to school because you're going to be there.
Absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
in the end, that not only is a great thing for their heart, but also, they're learning the skills that they need to be successful adults. So, yeah, actually, that probably plays a bigger role for me than I've just taught these kids nouns and pronouns.
Absolutely. Bridget?
Well, and it circles back to what you said with your relationship with teachers. And I had a similar upbringing in that difficult situations. And it was teachers who made me feel safe. I wasn't always in a safe environment. So I carried that with me. And I knew that these kids had to know I loved them in order for them to learn, to really learn. And that was really huge to establish. You have to establish a relationship and create a community before real learning takes place. And so, yeah, that's probably more important. You can be the best presenter of a lesson on the planet, the best PowerPoints and all the bells and whistles, we've seen it. But if you haven't connected on an emotional level and those kids don't trust you or they don't think you like them, they pick up on the tiniest
Things.
nuances,
Mhm.
and vice versa. We know when a kid's having a bad day. When you go to pick them up in the morning or they come in for breakfast in the classroom, boy, body language, you're like,
Ooh,
ooh, so and so needs a hug
yeah,
right now. So and so needs, do you need to go to the nurse?
yes,
So yeah, that's probably, and that I don't think can be
yeah.
taught. It can be discussed, and I think young teachers could be made aware that it's important because yeah, it doesn't matter how great a PowerPoint you have if those kids don't trust you and they don't
Uh,
feel safe with you. So yeah, and I agree with you, Kimberly. That was the hardest part of subbing, is you that when you went back to the same school and they'd run up and
mhm.
just hug you for no reason at all. That just made your day. It didn't matter how, yeah, that connection with kids. It's nice.
So I want to give you
From the
an
time that,
example. Oh, can I give you an example real
ooh,
quick?
please,
At one
yes,
point,
please.
I was a coach on my campus and not working in a classroom with a group of my own. And we had a lot of families coming in, refugee families coming in from many different countries. But this one family in particular came from Equatorial New Guinea. And they spoke Spanish. They spoke proper Spanish. So that threw the kids off a little bit. No, wait, these kids from Africa are speaking Spanish. And we don't quite know what they're saying. Their Spanish is funny. I'm like, their Spanish is proper. But that being said, um, there was a teacher pretty resistant to working with second language learners. Just kind of an old school guy, had been there teaching for a long time. It was just a little resistant to it. Kind of like take him out of the room and teach him English over there and then bring him back was the way he felt about it. But we had a parent meeting and the dad came in and we had a translator and he explained to the teacher, he said, I want to thank you for taking care of my son while he's in your class because you have him 8 hours a day. You see him more Monday through Friday than I do. And so you are his parent when I'm not there. You get to guide him. You don't just teach him mathematics and English, but you get to guide him into being a good person. And then he went on to tell their story about how they came to the United States. And it was a very traumatic experience for the family. And I just saw that teacher go from being very stoic and kind of stone faced in the beginning. I've got to do this conference. So here I am, softening. And I watched him later with that same student, and he had changed the way he
Hmm.
was treating him. And it was never unkind. He just never really tried to connect, but he did after that. And I think that
Mhm.
that drew the student to him a little bit closer. And he could learn a little bit better once he had that connection. So I do think that people that go into teaching and they may not be soft, cuddly, you know, um, hugging everybody kind of people can still connect with students if once they understand this is actually how you can get in there to the deepest learning that they need because they're going to share with you, hey, wait, I didn't understand that and feel more comfortable with you. So there you go.
No, I agree.